Hi, I hope you're all well. This is another one of my off the mark videos, just videos to help you get started with exercise, get you into that first level of, what's the word, the first level of achievement really, so that you can get a start. If you're already into fitness, this video won't be for you. This is to get people started who are just trying to get into things. Right, so we're just trying to make that first step into fitness, and maybe you feel a bit daunted by, I don't know, what have we done so far? We've done push-ups and squats and crunches and this type of thing. So remember, baby steps. This is getting off the mark. This is the first level stuff. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the exercises. Keep at it. If you would like to leave me some feedback, please do. Happy to hear feedback all the time. I'd love to know how I can improve, make things better. All right, enjoy the exercise. So we're going to look at getting into a plank. The first thing I need to show you is what a plank looks like, so that you know what you're after, what your ultimate goal is. I think this is quite a difficult exercise to get into, first of all, especially if you don't have good core strength anyway. And I appreciate that this little series, this off the mark series, is about getting people into a situation where they can do exercises from a zero starting position. All right, so let me show you a plank first, and then we'll build up to how we can get to them. So we're in this position. Starting this position, obviously I'm resting on the floor at the moment. What I'm going to do is lift this up this way, keep myself in a nice straight line all the way down. So I'm not sticking my bum in the air like this. I'm nice and level. I'm just holding this position. And the idea is to hold this position for as long as you can. You know, I think a good target to begin with would be 20 seconds, and then you can build on that. But it does require a reasonable amount of core stability, a little bit of core strength. And if you don't have any to begin with, that can be quite a challenge. So let's look at how we can build that core strength so we can get to this position, and then when we're in this place where we can hold this position at least for a while, then we can start to add to the time. So on this stage, unfortunately, you're going to lose my head for a moment when I get into position, whilst I get into position to show you this preliminary stage for a plank. But that doesn't matter too much. All I want you to do is pay attention and accept that this is a reasonably good way forward. Now, if you imagine, the reason why a plank is difficult is that you're suspending your whole body weight from your ankles to your shoulders in a straight line like this. So gravity's pushing down this way and you're stretched out this way. Now, to make that easier, what we're going to do is bring up one end. Now, bringing up your feet end, that's going to be a real challenge. It makes it really much harder on your shoulders. But it does, even though you bring your feet up and it puts more pressure on your shoulders, it does take the pressure off your core, because your body is no longer like this, but it's at an angle. And when it's at an angle, there's less downward pressure, because lots of the pressure goes this way. All right, so let me explain what I mean. So I want you to start like this. I'm sorry if you lose my head for a second, but you can still hear me. I want you to put your feet back like this and lean against the wall like this. All right, so this is you taking some of the pressure, some gravity pushing down on your torso towards the floor. Not as much as if I was in a plank, but this is a good starting point. Now, the further back I move my feet, the less of an angle I'm at, or the more of an angle I'm at, whichever way you look at it, and the more the pressure goes down into my body. But of course I can adjust this, I can make it as gradual as I wish. Now, you might be thinking, that's no good, my arms aren't strong enough to hold me up like that. Okay, then what you can do is fold your arms like this and rest your forearms against the wall. Right, so then you don't have quite so much strain on your arms. So let me show you that. So just fold your arms like this, bring your feet back and lean this way. Okay, I'm still on my toes, so my feet are off the ground, and I'm still in a straight line, because it's good to practice good form. Now I can adjust this all the way down to a plank position. So I can go from here, go a bit lower, this way, bring my feet back a bit, going down, yeah, Go down a bit more. Yeah, now just be careful you don't slide down the floor. Right, eventually I'll end up in a much lower position. Right, so next video. Now, obviously, if I'm leaning against the wall, once I get below a certain point, I would start to slide down the wall, and that's not going to be good. That's not going to help my fitness or my confidence or anything. So, starting quite upright leaning against the wall is okay, good, that's fine. But when you get down a little way, perhaps to 45 degrees, then you're better to support yourself from the floor upwards. But you're still probably not quite ready. Well, you're definitely, if you're starting from scratch, you definitely won't be ready to go to a horizontal position yet. So this is something else you can do for a nice interim stage. And again, we can do it two ways. Let's do it with straight arms first of all. So just find something to lean on, get yourself in a straight line and hold that position. Right, so you can see I'm not horizontal, I'm still at an angle, and the more my angle is, the less pressure there is on my torso to stay rigid in a straight line. So that's a nice position to work to next. Then the next position, quite obviously in my opinion, is to do the same thing on your elbows. Right, so I'm here. Right, I'm excuse me, I'm on my elbows still, but because I'm on this footstool, or my elbows are on the footstool, I'm lifted up to a reasonably high angle, and it does ease a lot of pressure off my torso. I'm not having to strain or struggle to keep myself rigid. And obviously from there, we can easily get rid of this, move it out of the way, and we can go to a push-up position. Now, push-up position plank is probably more strain on your arms than a plank, but less strain on your torso because you're not quite horizontal, you're angled. Your arms are longer than your feet, so your body will be at an angle like this, not completely horizontal. And then of course, after that, lower yourself down, pretty much horizontal, and go there. Now from here, I would say little and often, I would go 10 seconds, then 10 seconds twice a day, then maybe 10 seconds 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day. But then when you manage that regularly, because doing it regularly will have a better effect on your body than doing it for longer. And it will build the tension up, build the strength up and the tone up in your muscles. So then I would go 20 seconds or 15 seconds 2 or 3 times a day. Now maybe you can't manage 15 seconds 2 or 3 times a day, but maybe you could manage 15 seconds one of your times and 10 seconds the other times. And then maybe 15 seconds more of the times. And then of course you go to 20 seconds. And I would always, if this was me building up from scratch, I would always keep the time down low, quite low, and do it more often. I often tell the story about somebody who wanted to be more active when they were at work. They worked in an office. They were in quite a smart suit. They couldn't afford to be sweaty every few hours. So I said to them, well, why don't you just try planking for 1 minute every hour? And they couldn't do it to begin with, but eventually they managed to plank 1 minute for every hour, and it turned out to be a really good fitness regime for them because they didn't have to puff and pant and get hot and sweaty. All they could do was just keep themselves nice and rigid, 1 minute every hour. And it turned out that in their office it was perfectly doable. Obviously that's not going to be suitable for every single person, but it's a good example of how you can build up. Now believe me, it's worth getting to a position where you can do plank because it's such a good static exercise that works so much of your musculature in one go. It's almost like it's like a universal toning exercise. Right, so it's a universal front toning exercise. It tones most of the things on your front all in one go. Your quads, your abs, your chest, your arms, your shoulders, Yeah, so it's a really good exercise and worth getting into. And most of the time it doesn't make you puff and pant and get too sweaty. Alright, hope that helps.